Hello, loveys. How are we? Today is April 29th, 2025, day 6 of Commonwealth v. Karen Reed. And what a day it was. Oh, am I on? Yes, I am. May the Lord be with you and also with you. I'm sorry for my tardiness because I needed to put on my McCabe woman sympathy stripes. Okay. Needed to have a quick outfit change. Also, sidebar, this is a little snug. She's got some big old biceps. Not really. It's more of a chubby girl struggle. Don't judge me. Okay, here we are. Hi, Lori. How are you? Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. I feel absolutely out of my mind after day 6. Do you? Do we all feel out of our minds right now? See, here's the thing. Chloe Jones, I love that you thought I needed a big cross, but here's the thing. I actually do love Jesus. Okay? Who is he? Tiny Jesus. He's with me. Okay? He hangs out in the boom. And I'm not going to put on a cross in a sacrilege. I can do it to a striped shirt, but to Jesus, no, right? Because he's batting for the home team. I think I'm in it. Could be wrong. I do want to tell you all that today has been a day of epic proportions, not just because of the cross-examination of Ian Whiffen, where him and Robert Alessi felt a chemistry that was undeniable. But additionally, I too felt a chemistry that was undeniable with a cable man. My Wi-Fi might be at speeds that none of you are prepared for. Or it could all be a figment of my imagination. I've run a speed test on this bitch, and allegedly, we've got power. It was cranked up all the way to this part, right? So like if it was previously here on the line, it's all the way over here. That's at full force. That feels fast. That feels like I'm hitting you at 88 gigawatts tonight. I don't know what it means, but I'm into it. So here we go. Thank you, Nanya. Nanya says, so happy for you. Thank you. I too am happy. Now, we don't know. This is our maiden voyage, but we're hoping, we're feeling froggy. We're leaping. I did also want to tell you all that I had like a thought, a moment, if you will, about us putting our positive energy and feeling like when we look at David Yannetti as the original non-consensual intern, I look at him like what? A bowl of spaghetti, my loves. Has been that way since day one. Since he non-consensually had me as his intern. And he is going to be hungry. He's been hungry. Karen is trying to feed a team of pro se attorneys and college students, law students, not just college students. Who are you? They're in Harvard. And, do they need a little Jersey Mike's in their belly? Yeah, they do. But also, do we want David Yannetti and AJ Allen Jackson to be carb loading, living their best life to do what they need to do in cross-examination? Yeah. So I put up a little linksy, and that little linksy, I think, on my YouTube will go to my Venmo and then my Venmo, or you could give it to Karen's Venmo, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to send her, I'm going to send her some more lunch money. Okay. Because I need them to be proteined. I need it to be like an appropriate, nutritionally balanced lunch. Okay. Someone needs fruit. We need protein and we need 30% carbs, allegedly. And I think that men run best on 30 to 35% carbohydrates. I don't know. It probably is. It's something that we could look up and or have lawyers, trial lawyers, maybe tell us where their peak performance is. Okay. So if you want to do that, we will end up sending a lunch fund to Karen at the end of our stream, because why? We're the best, we're the smartest, we're the prettiest, and we want to ensure that there is light at the end of the tunnel and that they are able to see their way with full bellies to cross-examine, I don't know, maybe Jennifer McCabe tomorrow. Okay. With that being said, lovies, we have a wild ride ahead of us. You, me, us. So now we're going to touch a little bit on the cross-examination of Ian Whiffen done by the incomparable Bob Alessi and the points that I don't want to freak you out, but that I said yesterday. Oh, is she possibly a new infant baby Jesus lawyer? Maybe. Could she get a law clerk job somewhere for 4 years and try to take the bar? Call me Kim Kardashian West. I don't know. But I'm thinking about it. There's 4 states in the United States of America that you can do that. Like, you could call a lawyer and be like, "Hey, can you sponsor me?" And the lawyer can be like, "Yeah, sure." It's Vermont. I'll go get Chloe and an internship. Then you could go to Virginia. You could do California. And then I believe it's Wyoming. So any of our law lovers, this could be our chance. Law school and paying $1 billion for that education. Or could we work under incredible attorneys out of those 4 states? I think we could. I'll do a trot to Vermont. Not afraid. Any Vermont lawyers, please get in my email. legalnursekim@gmail.com. Okay. And we're off to the races. Ian Whiffen, may the force be with you, because Bob Alessi is not playing. Let's go.
"50 degrees in a 15-minute period." Is it correct to say that there was a much more dramatic drop in temperature in your test scenario 1 than what actually occurred on John O'Keefe's phone for the time period we just covered in January 29th?
Yes.
And then with regard to even test scenario 2, where the temperature is 33.8 degrees, that's the ambient, the outdoor temperature,
Correct.
right?
Ambient.
At that temperature, just above freezing, you've got a...
Sorry, that's below freezing.
I'm sorry?
It's below freezing.
Oh.
What is freezing in Fahrenheit?
Don't know, but it's 0 degrees Celsius.
Wow. Wow. Oh, Ian, I'm sorry. Did you just, as an expert who conducted this testing that was specifically related to Officer John O'Keefe's cell phone and his battery life in regards to a relationship with the weather and him being outdoors, and you presented an entire fucking show yesterday that said, "Oh yeah, no, it couldn't have happened because he was only at the flagpole and it makes sense." And Hank Brennan was giddy. He was filled with joy like only a tiny weasel could be. And now we find out that this expert, the Celebrite, creator himself, program management, doesn't know what freezing is in Fahrenheit. Oh, it is 32 degrees. And I know that we're American, but America uses Celebrite too.
Right.
And it was -5 degrees Celsius at the time.
Right. But would you agree that, and I want to be fair to you because I know you use Celsius more
Yes.
than Americans who use Fahrenheit, but would you agree that 32 degrees Fahrenheit is the freezing point in Fahrenheit?
I honestly wouldn't know.
Okay, fair enough. So in any event, in your experiment at 33.8 degrees Fahrenheit, you're getting a drop in your experiment in 13 minutes of 30.6 degrees, right?
Correct.
There was the initial drop levies in the temperature from Officer John O'Keefe's cell phone battery. It went down 30 degrees in like such a short period of time, from 12 o'clock to 1:30, right? And then it stayed even Steven, if you will, for 4.5 hours, from 1:30 a.m. to 6 o'clock in the morning. And then the lowest drop that Officer John O'Keefe's battery and phone got to, allegedly, was at 6:14, when Kerry Roberts had already picked it up, and she tells us that she put it in her pocket. And it dropped down to, I believe, 37 degrees was the lowest. Now, how does that make sense, babes? How, in the love of God, if Officer John O'Keefe was in a blizzard between 18 and 22 degrees and wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour overnight, how would it have made sense that for that long of a stretch, that his battery stayed on his cell phone and that it did not drop degrees in the rate of which it did initially? It didn't. It does not make sense. And if you look at 50 degrees-ish, right? If somebody had maybe not an unheated basement, maybe that would be a correlation to those temperatures indicated on Officer John O'Keefe's phone. Now, listen, I never tell you I know what happened on January 29th, 2022. I don't, because I wasn't there and I'm not an investigator. But you know what I do know is that Officer John O'Keefe's body temperature continued to lessen and lower to 80 degrees when it was found, when he was at Good Samaritan and they checked his core temperature. We got it to 80 degrees core temp Fahrenheit. Well, you would think that he at least started out at 98 degrees. 98.6 is our typical range. Some people are a little cooler. Some people run and they stay at 96.9. Other people are 97.2. Whatevs. That's where the range he was in. And it is impossible, medically speaking, scientifically speaking, and I believe that it will be proven, that this homeboy, okay, former police officer, didn't know that little tidbit, didn't know you were hanging out in Yorkshire, sir, with your little baton. And that 80% of your work is always with and for whom? Prosecution and police. Thank you.
But much less drop in temperature on slide deck 60 of the actual iPhone of John O'Keefe on the morning of January 29th, correct?
Yes, correct.
Calgary. Do you know what the temperature was in Canton in January 29th, 2022?
I do not know.
Don't you think that that would be an important piece of information?
Don't you? Don't you think? One may riddle that question. This isn't hard. These are things that you and I would think about just as the public. Like, hey, what was the temperature outside during the alleged blizzard that you've done your experiments to work around and to specifically be tailored to what? This case. Okay.
In analyzing where the phone of John O'Keefe was on the morning of January 29th?
I didn't think it was.
So you didn't think it was important, even though you issued a report discussing the temperature of the iPhone, and you did 2 test scenarios, one in a freezer, one in an ambient temperature of slightly above 33 degrees, and you didn't think it important to take the final step to see whether there was anything to be gained from that comparison to determine where that phone was located?
Oh.
My testing proved that the battery temperature is affected by ambient temperature. My report shows the data that was on the device. I also don't know the condition that the phone was found in, whether it was in a case, whether it was in a pocket. So To me, the ambient temperature in Canton at the time wasn't particularly relevant. I just wanted to show what data the device had recorded.
Oh.
The information that you create from your digital forensics analysis, including everything that's in the slide in your report, including battery. One sec, sir. I'll go back to the question.
Just a moment. A little moment of love.
In digital forensics, you work with law enforcement often, correct?
Correct.
And you work in
Sure
law
do.
enforcement in investigating cases, do you not?
Yes.
And so oftentimes, the law enforcement is using your digital forensics information to help them solve cases, correct?
Correct.
You didn't suggest to anybody on law enforcement that they might want to take a look at this temperature information to assist in determining where this phone could have been by the temperature? You never raised that with them?
I did not.
And that is the moment in which all of the credibility from Ian Whiffen slowly just pressed out of him like a silent but deadly fart, right? You were a man sucking up all that helium in the room, Mr. Big Guns. But then one of the most important factors that would have been needed to present the information and the experiments in which he did to make sense and to be complete and full and robust, if you will, he didn't do it. And he didn't do it, babes, because he knew damn right well that there would have been a problem. There would have been something that he couldn't have explained. So he said, nope, we're not going to talk about it. Let's just leave that where it is. And I'll pretend like I didn't think about it and that wouldn't have mattered in the long run. But it does. It's one of the largest factors when determining cell phone battery length, the life of it, and the effects of cold. Fucker.
And do you know whether any law enforcement person was aware that you had done all this temperature analysis?
It was in my report.
So you created a report as part of this case, and you deemed the temperature important enough to do 2 test scenarios, important enough to put it in a slide presentation to this jury. Yet there's no discussion of that between you and any member of law enforcement as to what it means?
Oh.
The details were provided in my report, and there was discussions, but it never came up as to say what was the temperature in Canton that night.
Oh, so there were discussions.
Not with law enforcement.
Oh, who
as
were
part of my preparations for trial.
Oh, tell me about who you discussed this temperature information with.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did anyone hear Bob Alessi's because I did. Because I clutched my pearls and clenched my butts, lovey, as the highlight of my day before Jennifer McCabe moseyed her way to the stand. Stop it. You stop it right now. Bob Alessi, if you do a Nurse Kim O again, I will be the #1 fan, okay, that you have, good sir. I will go down in history as your numero uno fan. I will not pull a Yolanda Saldivar, but I will love you for life.
It was with Hank.
You're hesitating, and I can't hear you. Who did?
Oh, it was with Hank. Oh, Commonwealth supporters, I'm going to need you to take several fucking seats. Oh, immediately, if not sooner. We just had this little wily son of a bitch get up on the stand and say to himself, hey, my homeboy Hank. And every Commonwealth supporter and Hank Brennan himself felt some sort of way yesterday with the mere allegation and the one-time slip up of Dr. Daniel Wolf from ARCA, who said, I texted Alan, Doesn't feel as comfy as this little grinner. This grinning son of a gun. Ooh. Ooh, Ian. Do you have any other friends you call on first name bases? Not Mr. Brennan, but Hank. And how about Trooper Garino? Or do you just refer to him as Nick?
Did you discuss
with
it
Hank?
Excuse me?
With Mr. Brennan?
Attorney Brennan?
Yes.
You discussed temperature with Prosecutor Brennan.
It was in my report.
It was in your report, but you said you discussed. Which is it?
It's in my report, and the discussion was that it is in my report. I'm not in a position to suggest that investigations take place and change based on my report findings.
Oh, sir, I'm not suggesting what you just stated. I'm just trying to get information about, you mentioned the verb discuss.
Oh.
Didn't you, in your
Yes,
answer moments ago?
Yes.
Isn't discuss a verbal thing? It's not a written thing?
It was discussed in preparation for trial, yes.
Oh, so there was a discussion, a verbal discussion with Attorney Brennan about temperature in your preparation for trial.
Sure
Yes.
was.
Was there any interest at all as to what this could actually mean for the potential location of Mr. O'Keefe's phone on these very important time periods in January 29th that might assist to determine at various times whether Mr. O'Keefe is in a covered building based upon the temperature rather than outside in a nor'easter on January 29th?
I'm sorry, what was the question there?
Yeah, the question is, was there any discussion about the investigative value of what you had done in determining where that phone could have been on key time periods on the morning of January 29th?
That wasn't part of the discussion, no.
It wasn't part of the discussion. We went through, you may recall in my questioning, in your report, where you stated that it was
his report
possible that the phone could be inside the house of 34 Fairview based upon that big white circle.
Yeah.
You testified
Could have been in the house.
that the low accuracy at certain points could be because of it entering a covered building, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
And you do a temperature experiment to track the very accurate temperature change of an iPhone, and it doesn't match up the actual data with either of your test scenarios, and you don't raise that with anybody.
Never.
Sustained. You can ask it differently.
Did you ever put together in any kind of form your test scenario 1, your test scenario 2, and the actual temperature chart of the iPhone of Mr. O'Keefe?
So how do you mean put it together? As in compare the two?
Exactly.
Yes.
Compare the two and reach any conclusions about location, because you spent time, did you not, sir? A lot of time in your reports on location of the phone.
Yes.
But yet with all
You spent so much time, Mr. Whiffen, on the location of the phone that you felt comfortable to look at the jury and tell them that the phone was and remained at the corner of 34 Fairview, the lot near the flagpole. Yet we know that your report actually says that it could be between 34 Fairview at the flagpole, in through the front door, or out in the front lawn. Oh.
all that data, all that testing, all the experiments that you did, you didn't include in your slide presentation, and you didn't include in your report what that could mean for the location of the phone, did you, sir?
Shady.
I'm struggling to see the comparison there.
Let me see if I can ask it in a different
Please.
way. Nowhere in your slide presentation did you have any discussion yesterday about how your test scenario, did you bring up, by the way, in your slide presentation yesterday, your battery temperature at all, your tests?
Not the tests, no.
Right, so you didn't even raise yesterday in your presentation about where the phone might be located. You didn't even raise the experiments that you did, correct?
Nope.
Sustained as to the terminology. Ask it differently.
Did you yesterday in your presentation to the jury in any way?
Hi, Maza. How are you, my friend? He was struggling to see a lot. Pally boy.
Discuss your battery test scenario 1 and 2 in your March 2025 report?
I believe there was mention of testing, but not to the amount of detail to say what the testing was.
Right. So there was no detail given at all
No
about
detail.
it. You just mentioned that it occurred, but no detail in
just
your
said it.
discussion at all.
Guys, this is the equivalent of my testing told me. So the crime scene told you. Kerry Roberts said the timeline told her. And now Ian Whiffen gives us the one-liner. The testing told me. Oh, get out of here, you Commonwealth.
And are you aware, with regard to the battery temperature, that battery temperature in investigations can be used to determine locations of phones at certain times?
Yes.
Are you aware of that?
No.
So you have never used battery temperature information in all your years
Oh.
in any way for any investigation of a case in determining location of a phone?
Again, I don't see how you can determine location of a device from a temperature reading, other than to say whether it was inside or outside.
So battery temperature
Oh.
and the chart that you gave that is up there, in your opinion, has no relevancy to the topic of where a phone might be to investigators in a case? Is that what you're saying?
Is that what you're saying, Mr. Whiffen?
I'm saying I can't take a temperature reading and make a determination about a GPS location based on the temperature reading.
That's not my question, though,
Okay.
sir, and I appreciate your answer, though. My question is, you work with law enforcement investigators regularly,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Isn't this information of potential relevance based upon your experience with investigations? Isn't this information at least potentially relevant in investigations?
I believe
Yes.
it could be. That's why I included it in my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But you didn't include a discussion of it in your testimony yesterday, correct?
Correct.
And that was the crux of it, loveys. Okay. We don't need to get further in the weeds because then Hank gets back up and he rebuts the shit out of this. But what I will tell you is this, is we're hiding the ball and we're not including what you used in all of your experiments and what you did to help with the investigation. And that's what it was. This is brand spanking new. This is new info and new testing that was done by a Commonwealth of Massachusetts that has already tried this case. In my opinion, and in other cases that we have seen in our Commonwealth and in the United States of America, typically, you got to keep that shit within the same lines, right? We have to color within the same lines of which you prosecuted in trial 1. And now we see the Commonwealth playing the three-hand poker or the shift or whatever it's called, like the three-hand Monty or whatnot, that they're doing a sleight of hand. And we see it. It was incredible that Bob Alessi was able to get that information out and provide the testing that was done, because the cell phone battery would have rapidly decreased until it turned off. Officer John O'Keefe's phone was not at 100% when they got to 34 Fairview, right? He had been out with Mike Camerano. They were at CF McCarthy's. Then from CF McCarthy's, they bopped over to the waterfall. Then from the waterfall, he had called Jennifer McCabe and he had put on his Waze. So you know damn right well that there is battery that has been drained. And it was an iPhone 11 that he had. Well, I looked up and it says in optimal conditions of ambient temperature, which is between like 35 degrees Fahrenheit and 100 degrees or 111 degrees Fahrenheit, it would have been able to hold a charge for 11 hours. It was far lower temperature-wise than 35 degrees Fahrenheit on January 28th into the 29th. And sometimes anyone with an iPhone would tell you when you get around, even if you're at like 30%, your phone could shut off in the cold. So this entire explanation, in my opinion, from Ian is Stugotz. It means zip, zilch, zero. Like cancel each other out. I want Rick Green to come up and say 227 is in play. And I'll tell you this, loveys. I have never been more convinced that 227 is in play. It is. It happened. Why? Because of the different search spellings. I may have not believed it if Jennifer McCabe had typed at 6:23, Hoss long to die in cold, but she didn't. At 6:23, she typed in the same browser, how long T-I die in CIKD. And that doesn't like add up. Per Ian Whiffen himself, he tells us, he goes, it was from the, she had just opened that tab at 6:23 a.m. because she was hockamocking, right? She was looking up Hockamock Sports. She was sending text messages in group chats to her husband that was sleeping next to her. Oh, it all makes sense. But then how did we get Hoss long to die in cold if that wasn't put in the search bar until 6:24? The 6:23 a.m. search muffs it up. Facts matter, journalism. Thank you. And to Attorney Krowski, okay, who I was on Court TV with last night. I'm going to tell everybody that you can have a conversation with somebody, and just because I have a different opinion, what you're not going to ever do to me is say that you don't want to be mean to people, but we're getting to flat earth, or like calling me a dummy. I'm not a dummy, sir. Okay? I'm a registered nurse. I'm a nationally wound certified registered nurse. And I am a legal nurse consultant. Okay? I'm not a lawyer. You're right. I don't have nepotism, right? And I didn't get a job because my dad was your dad, right? I come from a line of of police officers and nurses and public servants. But you won't do that on national TV to me ever again. Okay? Because if we want, I could try to be flippant and nasty and talk about your brain cells. But I wouldn't, because I'm not a trash bag. And next, we go. We travel, babes. We're going to look at the OnlyFans. We're going to think about our feelings. And we're going to say, hey, we're on a short break. And to the Muffin Man. What was this?
The jury that you did certain testing.
Correct.
What was the purpose of that testing?
To make sure that the battery temperature sensor would be affected by environmental temperatures, such as being in the freezer, such as being outside, being brought back indoors, and to make sure that the fall and rise of the temperature sensor, at least the pattern would match the expected pattern and would match the thermometer that was alongside it.
When you put the batteries or the phone in the freezers, did it matter what the temperature of the freezer was when you put it in it?
I didn't believe it did.
What was the purpose again of putting it in the freezer?
Just to remove the device from the warm environment, which was outside of the freezer, placing it inside the cold environment of the freezer and just seeing how the temperature dropped.
I love that he says, we just wanted to put it in the freezer so that it was chilly. Okay. We wanted to take it out of a warm environment and put it in a cool one. Did I know the temperature? No. Oh, this feels very not scientific, like to what do they always say, to scientific certainty. Can you say? And he's like, no, I can't actually say that at all.
As you mentioned, you look at data through science, correct?
Correct.
And so, did anybody ever share with you the important points of the decrease in temperature of the cell phone battery to try to influence your results?
I'm sorry, could you
Did
rephrase?
anybody try to tell you important points of the evening on January 29th, 2022, in an attempt to influence your studies on the fact that a battery or a phone, when it gets colder, the battery temperature decreases?
No.
So when you developed,
Yeah, he's like, I didn't even know the temperature that was outside. And Jen, oh, thank you so much, Lovey. Nobody puts Kim in a corner. I'm not in a corner. I'm just doing a friendly sign here that says, like, we're not going to talk to people like that on national television, because that doesn't show couth, right? And you can disagree with me and not be like nasty. What do you have to be nasty for? I mean, unless it maybe makes sense to you, or you feel so passionately that you need to discredit the 227 search or Officer John O'Keefe going into a house because you represented Colin Albert. Maybe that's your problem, Joe. But you can't take that out on me, you know? That's your own stuff. And maybe Court TV and Vinny should look at that and say, ooh, I don't know if we're going to go there with somebody who is going to question anyone who thinks something differently. That if we have our own experts that say this did happen, then you can't say that just because one expert said what you like to hear doesn't mean that I can call you dumb. And I wouldn't because you believe everything that Ian says. I said, I disagree. That's all. Play nice.
the graph of the battery temperature, and you follow the progress of that temperature declining through the night, was there any other scope or focus of yours other than to simply track the data?
Just tracking the data.
Similar.
So we track the data. Now let's get to the main events, my loveys. Come close to me. Let us talk. When Jennifer McCabe came through those doors, walked up to that stand, I said, oh. I said, she's like a whole brand new witch, right? I said, this is a rebrand like I've never seen before. This feels like Madonna in 2005. I loved it. I love it. I love a rebrand. Are we trying to be softer? What were we going for? Did a stylist tell you, ooh, you look a little bit too rough with the dark hair? She put in some spring highlights, which she didn't have last year. Oh, she got a long lob and she got a spray tan with a cross that was quite biblical in proportions. And we hear the story from Jennifer McCabe's mouth that I had questions starting immediately. When we're talking about people who we know in the house, I've got clips, loveys. We're going to be clipping, okay? You and me. Are you prepared? Now, let's do our lunch break. And you know I like to jam to the rhythmic sounds of Court TV. The break music. Oh, do we have any? Take a moment. Oh. We groove and move What other rhythmic bangers we got? Oh, come on now. It turned off. Shake it, shake it. Don't break it. And our final note. Oh, we'll just say hi to the OnlyFan real quick. Let's end with this. Oh, it ends with us. Where are you, OnlyFan? Come to me, my friend. Oh, no, we're turning it up. Pump up the volume. Or at least to 720, right? Okay, let us go. Hello, OnlyFan. Oh, it's happening. It's happening. Sorry, loveys.
Face up quick and raise your right. You know, for the others to give the board adjourned in case there was the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you.
Good afternoon. All right, Mr. Brennan, whenever you're ready, Mr. Brennan.
I'm sorry, our sympathy stripes are activated. Am I a McCabe girl? I don't know. Okay. Did she get that from Allie's closet? One will never know. But I too rock my sympathy stripes. Let's go.
That you pull the microphone closer for a second. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go right ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, I'm Jennifer McCabe, MCCABE.
Ms. McCabe,
Oh, loveys. When I tell you this was a moment just right out the gate, let's take a look. We have to. Let's take a minute. We have to review and reveal what we think about the 2.0 look. There's so much to unpack. I do like the lighter hair. I like the layers framing the face, right? Of course we do. All right, that's your spring look. Did we get some filler? Oh, good for you. Listen, no judgy. We don't hate on you because of that. We love it. We love a queen that wants to fill in her eyebrows. Okay. We love a spray tan because melanoma is a real thing. We do not want anyone to get skin cancer. Okay. Now, some downsides. How much did Jennifer McCabe rehearse her performance? Because when I tell you, babes, this was a performance. This was 3, 2, 1 action. Am I right? The fact that Hank Brennan first said to her, the one thing he asks is, can you introduce yourself to the jury? And Jennifer McCabe hits him with the, hi, I'm Jennifer, MCCABE. Oh, no one asked you to spell your last name, Jen. Because usually they'll ask you to do that, but you just jumped the gun, sweetheart. Oh, you skipped a line. He was supposed to say, can you spell your last name to us? But that's okay. Let's see how comfortable you are. And we're going to listen to this in real speed, guys, because if you don't mind taking time with me, the inflection is everything. All right, babes.
how old are you?
I am 49 years old.
Are you married?
Oh.
Yes, I am married with 4 daughters.
Without detailing your children's names, can you tell us a little bit about your family?
Sure. I have 4 daughters that are 16, 17, 19, and 21. 2 are in high school and 2 are in college.
In raising your children, was your family active in local sports?
Yes.
Yes.
Barry.
All 4 of
Barry.
my daughters played multiple sports from when they were young. 2 now are playing in college. My husband and I both coached them. My husband coached them from when they were young up through 8th grade in soccer, and I coached them in basketball.
Without telling me your address, what town are you from?
I'm from Canton.
How long have you lived in Canton with your family for?
I was born and raised in Canton, and now I'm raising my family there.
So your family, their whole life, you've raised them in Canton?
1 year we lived in Stoughton with my daughter.
Who do you live with now?
I live
It was very apparent that even right now, because you and I, Lovey, we have gone back and forth and we have watched 1.0 testimony, and I'm still struggling internally with the post-nasal drip of Jennifer McCabe. Jen, babe, you need to get some, I don't know what's happening here, but I'm recommending, medically speaking, and this is not actual medical advice, but what it is go talk to somebody and get some like Allegra. Okay. You need a Flonase. I want you to smell flowers and taste them in your throat in the morning. Okay. And that's going to prevent us from hearing the all the time. Okay. Thank you.
with my husband and my 4 daughters.
Can you briefly give me a little bit more background on your children's school and your participation in that and interaction with your children, raising them?
Yeah, so I was a teacher, and then once I had children, I stayed at home with them and basically was just kind of like your typical, I don't know, small town mom. I was the room parent. I coached them.
You know, I'll allow it, but why don't we
Yes.
move on?
When I coached, I drove the kids back and forth on my team, would take them places, etc.
In the growth of your family and raising your children, at some point did you meet a gentleman by the name of John O'Keefe?
Yes,
Share with us meeting John O'Keefe.
sure. When my 3rd daughter was in kindergarten, she became friends with John's niece. And during that kindergarten school year, unfortunately, Kaylee's mother and father both passed away, and John moved in the house and became Mr. Mom.
Became Mr.
When
Mom.
John took over guardianship of the children, did you assist in an active role in helping him?
Oh,
Yes,
There it
Kaylee
is.
and my daughter were very close, so she would come over and play. My daughter would go over there. Kaylee would come and have sleepovers. A lot
Etc.
of times it would be on Friday nights. I would have Kaylee, and then another individual would have Patrick.
Had you known John O'Keefe well before he took over guardianship of the children?
No.
No.
During the time when he
No, you didn't. And I just want to make a speculative announcement. Why? Because I can speculate and have an opinion. The fact that you didn't know John for more than he had custody of the children, of his children, niece and nephew, of his that he had guardianship over for 9 years prior to his death. And I know that a decade is a long time to be a friend. And I know that you can be very, very close to people. But I would like to say to you that very clearly, Jennifer McCabe was not Officer John O'Keefe's best friend. You know who that was? That was Mike Camerano and or a guy named Brandon, who has done a couple of interviews and whatnot. Okay, so might I ask, not only why Jen felt comfortable enough to be calling Peg O'Keefe, working with Kerry Roberts on a timeline. And the very next day, the day after Officer John O'Keefe had tragically passed, Jen is over at the O'Keefe's house and drops off between 1 and 2 of her children there. Oh. Now, you're not a cousin. You're not a wife of a best friend. You're a friend. And it's very, very kind of you to care and to check in and to do all the things. But the way in which you did wouldn't sit well with me, and it sure as shit wouldn't sit well with any of my family. Like, hey, cool. Thank you so much. Send me a spiritual bouquet. I haven't known you since I was 4. Just saying.
He was the guardian of the children. Did your relationship, not just with his niece and nephew, but with him, grow any closer?
Yes, we became very good friends.
How close of friends did you become over the years?
Well, throughout the years, obviously, when they were younger, we talked more, just about the logistics of CCD, pick up, drop off, basketball, sports. But then he would also call me, about, as the girls got older, the girl drama or, the hormones and things like that. He would also come over, and hang out and have a beer and, just talk about whatever was new in his life or going on.
My gosh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was muted. Oh, loveys, I'm sorry. I was just saying that the Jennifer McCabes, they're here. Okay? They're in Massachusetts. And you either what? You are either part of the clique or you are not welcome. That's it. And this comment from Mustang Sally Port, a man in the snow, that's who was one of your closest friends that on January 30th, you were over at the O'Keefe residence? Oh, something feels off. And I get a instinct. And you should always trust your instincts on people. And that's what a jury does. They're sizing her up. And they're going to say, does this feel credible to me or not? And in the shadiest shit that I have ever seen Court TV do as a network, they put up a poll about an hour into Jen's testimony and said, do you find the testimony of Jennifer McCabe totally believable, sort of believable, a little bit, or not at all? And 80% of the chat, 80, thought that she was either not at all believable or just a little bit. Now, that's not a free Karen Reed, platform. This was just people straight watching the trial, not listening with attorney Melanie Little or attorney Andrea Burkhart or with Will or with Emily D. Baker, who's another, I think that she's very down the middle, but she also leans free Karen Reed because she has a brain. And she's the smartest and the prettiest. I'm obsessed with Emily D. Baker. Who am I shitting? But all of these other streaming platforms are available for commentary. Court TV just plays the testimony. They're not making any comments. And that was shocking to me to see 80% of people in that chat said, huh, something is not right here to them.
Or, just the day in and day out struggles of his, life and raising the kids now and figuring it all out with, work and family and all of that.
Leading into January 28th of 2022, so the jury understands, how close is your friendship with John O'Keefe at that time?
He was a very good friend of mine that I
Very
knew
good.
I could call for anything.
I want you to take us forward to January 28th, 2022. Do you remember that day?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember it well?
Yes.
Take us to the early morning hours.
I would love to do that for you, my pierogi. We should do a 1.0 versus 2.0 side-by-side testimony. Now, listen, that's actually very technology advanced, but I'd try it for you, okay? And I love that cat.
January 28th, 2022. Did you learn there may be weather or a storm coming?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
We all saw the report that there was going to be a big storm, a nor'easter. So we all knew that basically all the Saturday activities were going to be canceled.
That includes sports?
Yes.
Was and is the sporting events for the children a big part of your life?
Yes. Back then I had, two in high school that played 3 sports, and they played club sports as well. And then the 2 middle school played club sports and town sports. So most of our weekends were taken up by kind of running from one sporting event to the next.
When you learned about the weather and the changing schedule, did it change your plans for that day?
No, not particularly. I had my day was pretty set out. I had my niece, and then I had sporting events. It was kind of my plans for the next day that obviously got changed.
Hi, Nurse John. Thank you for joining.
Take us through the afternoon of the 28th. What's happening?
Well, I had my niece for the week, and she was picked up. My oldest was on the hockey team, and she was having a team dinner at the house. So I picked up pizza,
The team
got
dinner.
desserts, set it up for them. And then I left with my daughters and my husband, Matt, and we met some of the parents from the high school basketball team at a local pub to grab a bite and a drink before the basketball game, because my other daughter played on the high school girls basketball team.
What time was the basketball game set for that night?
I believe it was 6 or 6:30.
Did you and your family go to the game?
Yes, we did.
After the game, what happened?
And not to be like judgy, right? We're never judgy. But there is a huge attempt in Jennifer McCabe's testimony here to distance her from alcohol, okay? And says, oh, I maybe just had 2 or 3 drinks. Oh, okay. Because she's what? She's a room mother. She is a soccer mother. She is just a lady. She is a Canton housewife. That is what she is. That is what she is portraying. She's playing the role of Canton housewife. Okay. Now, I find it interesting because you guys went to a bar before you went to your kids' game, and then were out till 1:30, 2:00 in the morning, when there was an impending blizzard. I'm not judging you for that, but here's the thing is we're not going to play dumb, or we're not going to play like all of you didn't throw back significant amounts of alcohol. Like, don't try to be, you are way better than Karen Reed. God forbid. Oh, thou dost protest too much, little queen.
After the game, I drove my daughter home.
Oh,
My sister, Nicole, sent me a text and said that she was going to be at the waterfall, and it was my nephew's birthday. He was going to meet up, and did I want to come by for a drink?
but he didn't meet up. He didn't meet up because baby Brian has anxiety, and he was at home with a couple of his girlfriends. He didn't want to go to a bar. And he also didn't want his auntie JJ to be bringing randos home for an after party on his 23rd birthday. Just saying.
What is your nephew's name?
Brian Jr.
It was his birthday that night?
Yes, it was.
Oh
When you
no.
received a call to meet with friends and family at the waterfall,
Oh.
do you remember what time that plan was made?
I don't. My sister sent me a
Who is she glaring at? Right? Doesn't it already look glary? I don't like that. I'm trying to put up the resolution here, Bibs, just to see.
text at some point letting me know she was going to be there. So I don't know what time.
After the game and after some time, did you go to the waterfall to meet your friends and family?
Yes, I did.
Describe very briefly, what's the waterfall?
It's just a local town bar.
Do you remember about what time you got to the waterfall?
About 9:00.
When you got there, was there anybody there that you knew?
Yes.
Okay, now take us inside the waterfall. When you get there, who do you see?
Who do you see?
I walk in and I see Julie and Chris Albert, my niece Caitlin, my sister Nicole, and my niece's boyfriend Tristan.
You said you saw Julie and Nicole Albert in the waterfall?
Yes.
Were you related
Yeah.
to either of them?
Nicole is my sister.
So Brian Sr. would be your brother-in-law?
Yes.
Also, you mentioned there was a niece.
Yes, Caitlin.
Is that Brian and Nicole's daughter?
Yes.
You mentioned the name Tristan. What's his relationship to your niece, to Brian Albert's niece?
He's now her fiance.
And was there anybody else I missed?
Oh, boom, like an 808. Okay. Only like Tristan can. But I will say this. Tammy, thank you for commenting here and saying someone stated she kept glaring down Karen. Well, there was just a moment, and I don't want to back up the time, but you could see her eyeballs just darting, right? And looking at Karen. Now, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you a little story, my loveys. I bet you $20 Karen was glaring back. Okay? There's no love loss here. Karen, I'm sure, despises Jennifer McCabe because of what has happened, right? And what do I know? Anything personally that's gone on? No, but publicly, oh. And to see that there was a potential working with Mrs. O'Keefe in order to make a timeline because it was going to, quote, it could take a while until Karen was like arrested and, arraigned. When there was no connection to Karen Reed until who? Jennifer McCabe allegedly, well, per the cell phone records, had reached out to Peggy and said, well, Karen broke her taillight. And then maybe was that the catalyst that Peggy said, oh, and then starts looking at Karen terrible. And then Karen feels so uncomfortable. She feels she can't stay at the house after she is left, after she comes back to the house, invited by Paul O'Keefe. Hank, I know you said that she was uninvited like a vampire and just showed up at One Meadow. But that's not the truth. She had spoken on the phone to Paul. And Paul said, of course, come over. And she did sit on the couch, per Paul's testimony. And they told John's nephew. That's heartbreaking. This entire case has been heartbreaking. But there appears, in my opinion, that a certain person or people really spun the wheel and got all other aspects taken care of by sowing seeds of doubt and putting blame on others when you're not an investigator. That's gossipy. And it's terrifying when it involves the death of someone. This isn't like you're talking shit about someone like another mother going to get lipo. This is life-changing shit. And if your hands are dirty and you got into the mud, then you really have a lot to reflect upon, in my opinion.
That's all who was there. I'm not sure if Nick Kolakidis was already in there when I got there or if he arrived right after. And then his wife joined us.
So when you're in the bar and you see your friends, what do you do next?
I immediately just, join them and sit down.
Were you eating, drinking?
I know I ordered a beer. They had appetizers on the table. I'm not sure whether I had any or not.
Were you drinking alcohol that night?
Yes.
Oh.
As you're spending time with your family, did the night grow?
Yes.
Did you stay at the table where everybody was eating, or did you move inside the bar?
We were pretty much right around the table.
Okay. Did anybody you knew join you or join the group at some point?
Yes. A little while later, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins joined us at the waterfall.
Brian Albert.
So when you first got there, was Brian Albert already there?
No, he wasn't.
Is that your brother-in-law, Brian Albert?
Yes.
And you said Mr. Higgins. Did you know Mr. Higgins?
I had met him a few times when he was out with Brian.
You had met him a few times before that night?
Yes.
Were you friendly with him?
He was a friend of Brian's.
Was he your friend?
No, he was Brian's friend.
You knew who he was?
Yes.
So when Mr. Albert and Mr. Higgins joined the group later, did they come directly to you, or did they stay somewhere else inside the bar?
No, they came over to our table, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
How long were you in the waterfall for that night?
Approximately 9 to little around midnight.
I just want to say also, Loveys, I'm going to have to go and rewatch testimony of trial number 1. But I swore to goodness that the girls were drinking like Truly, right? Or weren't they White Claws? Didn't they weren't they White Claw girls? And now we're beer drinkers. Oh, okay.
About 3 hours?
Yes.
Do you have an estimate how many drinks you had, alcoholic drinks you might have had?
I don't. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe 2, 3.
Ooh, you fucking lie. That's a lie. There's no way from 9 to 12 and you pre-gamed at 6:30 at another bar of unknown origin. This is the I am better than you to Karen. Not to all of you. It's just an F you to Karen, in my opinion.
Throughout the night, were you feeling any effects of the alcohol?
Not that I recall, no.
When the group was together, you mentioned a number of people have joined. Were you joined by other people later?
Yes.
Who were you joined by later?
John O'Keefe and Karen Reed.
And you talked about your relationship with John O'Keefe?
Yes, earlier, yes.
Did you make plans with him, or did he just show up?
I believe he had started the conversation about the night with Chris Albert.
Chris Albert is a different Albert than Brian Albert?
Yes.
How was the relationship between them?
Brian Albert and Chris Albert are brothers.
Was Chris Albert there when Mr. Higgins and Brian Albert arrived?
Yes. Actually, Chris, did I miss him? Because Chris was there with Julie. Did I? I'm not sure if I said that when I was naming everyone at the table. I apologize.
You may have.
Okay.
So when you first got there, he was at the table with your sister?
Yes, he was.
When moments before John O'Keefe arrived with the defendant, what was the mood in the group?
Cheerful. Good mood. Everybody was just out having a drink. We all knew the storm was coming tomorrow, and just a typical average night.
Celebratory?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You said you were going to see Brian Albert Jr. for his birthday. Was Brian Albert Jr. at the waterfall when you got there?
No, he was not.
Was Brian Albert Jr. there anytime when you were at the waterfall?
No, he was not.
Without relating a conversation with some other person, did you have an understanding where Brian Albert Jr. was?
He was at home.
Did you historically or typically see Brian Albert Jr., your nephew, on his birthday?
Yeah, typically we always, get together. We try to and do a cake for whoever's birthday it is. And then whatever, aunts or cousins are around, come over.
When
Do aunts and cousins typically come over, Jen, at about 12 to 12:30 from a bar room on his 23rd birthday, including people that had never been to his house? Is that typical? Because I'll tell you one thing, any of my nieces or nephews, there is no chance in hell you are ever going to see me bring randos to their house, especially anyone that is like myself that is riddled with anxiety. Happy 23rd birthday, baby Bri. Oh, baby Brian, Julie's going to bring you your Blizzard donuts first thing in the morning. Got to get your Blizzard dunks. But let me invite the bar back. Very, very common familial traits. Don't worry.
John O'Keefe arrived at the waterfall with the defendant, do you have a general estimate or guess, not guess, but a general estimate of what time they arrived?
Approximately 11.
When they first arrived, did you see them?
Yes.
Where did you see them coming from?
I saw them walk in.
When they walked in, did you react in any way?
Yes, I was happy to see them
Why were you happy to see them?
because I love John and I liked Karen.
So you were happy to see John?
Yes, very.
You were happy to
Oh, yes,
see the
very.
defendant?
Yes.
Do you remember your first interaction with either John or the defendant
I don't really, I want to
that
get
night
into
inside the waterfall?
but let's keep there.
I believe John walked over to where I was, kind of to my end of the table, and then maybe Karen had walked to the other end of the table. But I would assume I probably hugged both of them when I
Well,
saw them.
I'm going to ask you not to assume if you don't know. That's
Okay.
okay. You said that you had known the defendant as well.
A smile.
Do you remember how long she had been dating John O'Keefe up until that point?
I know I met her in July of 2020.
Had you had a chance to spend time or interact with her over that time before that night at the waterfall?
Yes, I had.
And share with us some of the moments or some of the reasons that you would interact.
The first time I met Karen, John had reached out. We would do pool days with him and his niece and his nephew. So he had told me he was dating a new girl and he wanted to bring her over. He said that she had multiple sclerosis. I also have multiple.
There will never be a better name than Brennan the human micropene, okay? You are iconic. You are the icon. You are the moment. But can confirm that old Jen is adding some extra testimony that seems to reflect the good old collaborated timeline. Oh, God can't save the Commonwealth, no matter how many times it's mentioned in court. Love your face. Love your face back. My Brennan, the human micropene. Continue, Jen.
Multiple sclerosis. So he thought that would be something we could, we would talk and bond over. I said, yeah, great, bring her over. So her and John and Kaylee and Patrick came over. We had a pool day. I liked Miss Reed immediately. I thought we hit it off. It was really great, talking to someone my age that also had MS, because I didn't really know a lot of people who have it. So it was really nice to have somebody to relate to. Then moving forward, we would see them, it was my daughter's birthday party. When it was time for pickup, they would come in, have a couple drinks. Same thing for like a Halloween party, after basketball games.
So you spent time both with John and Miss Reed?
Yes.
Did you spend time with the defendant separately without John around?
No.
Did you become friendly with her?
Yes.
And were you friendly that night?
Yes.
Never had her phone number.
After John and the defendant entered the bar and you agreed, did you interact or spend time with Miss Reed at the waterfall?
Yes, I did.
And speaking of the defendant, do you recognize her here in the courtroom?
Yes, I do.
Could you kindly point to her and describe an article of clothing she's wearing?
She's sitting right over there with a black shirt or blue.
Is she between Attorney Jackson and Attorney Yannetti?
Yes, she is.
Ooh, loveys, I'm sorry. Do you sense that disgust? Was that a look of disdain? Look upon you. You can try to hide it when you look at the jury, Jen, but let's fucking be clear. That is the face. And that is what you think of Karen Reed. And if I were a betting woman in a mean girl town. I would think that you pretended that you liked Karen or that, you guys had so much in common. But you probably felt the way that you're looking at her right now since day one. Oh, I said what I said.
When you were at the waterfall that night, do you remember who you were speaking to or where you were spending your time?
As to earlier in the night or after?
I'm sorry, after Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant arrived.
Yes, Miss Reed came over and spoke to me because I had seen her the Saturday before, and she had told me how she had started a new medication, and it was giving her some awful side effects. And I said, I'm shocked they put you on that, etc.
Let me not ask you about conversations you had, but about the
And I'm going to tell you this too. This is sneaky, and I know it is. Now, babes, this is going to be a point of contention because she's going to pretend or say, I bet you $20 the medication is going to be something that comes up. Why? Because if you rack your brains and remember that Mrs. Reed had said Karen might have medication in her pocketbook that I wouldn't want, she was nervous about, okay? And Jen is going to try, if I was a betting woman again, that there's going to be some kind of prepping that she knows a medication, whether that be, an anti-anxiety medication, whatever it is, a pain medication, I don't know. But she's going to maybe think that she knows what it is and they'll try to get it in. Again, that has nothing to do and should not be brought in because it's Karen's, first of all, her medical, her private HIPAA medical information. But there was no narcotics found in Karen Reed's system. The only thing that she tested for was ETOH or alcohol, and it came in at 93 deciliters per liter, which they converted back down to 0.08, which would have been a BAC, but they did not do the correct testing, we remember.
the moment that you were in.
Or they did the correct testing. It was just serum blood versus whole blood, and it's not the standard or the gold standard, rather, of how they typically collect it by Mass State Police. Continue.
Did you spend time with Ms. Reed that night?
Yes, I did.
Inevitably, did you drink more alcohol as the night went on?
Oh,
I believe I had, like I said earlier, a couple of drinks, 2, 3, not sure.
Did you ever have a shot of alcohol?
I do not believe I had the shot now.
Did you see the party, the group of friends and family doing the shot?
I was in the bathroom and walked out, and they were doing or had just done a shot.
right.
With the court's permission,
She was taking a shit. Was she shitting in the waterfall? Because I don't know about you, but when I go to urinate in a public bar, I am in and out within 27 seconds. Wash your hands, ma'am. Put on some hand sanitizer, and you tuck and roll. You get back to the table. I don't have time to be sitting on a toilet. No. So is this a confession, Jen? Were you pooping? Were you dropping a deuce at the Waterfall Bar and Grill?
I'd like to display parts of Exhibit 22, which has already been introduced into evidence, which is video surveillance footage from the waterfall.
Okay. All right, this we're going to see 15 times. She said hello. Oh, she was waving. She was so thrilled to see everyone. This isn't the interesting stuff like it's going to be when we get into Big Neck Daddy Higgins, babes, okay?
Yes.
Before you left, did you have any understanding whether or not Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant were going to join you?
Hold on. Did you have another understanding regarding that?
Yes.
And what was your understanding?
They were coming. They were coming.
Who else was going to go back to your nephew and your sister's house?
Brian Higgins.
William Poole, I am sorry to disappoint you, my friend. Good sir. Everybody poops. There's a book about it. Send me your address. I'll send you one. Girls and boys poop.
And my niece, Caitlin.
A little after 12, did you leave the waterfall?
Yes.
Do you remember that night leaving?
Yes.
Before you left, did you talk to anybody in particular?
Oh,
Yes. Miss Reed and then Mr. O'Keefe.
Did you speak to them inside the waterfall?
I walked out with Miss Reed and we spoke at the doorway, and then John joined us.
Did you invite Miss Reed to come with you?
I did, yes.
Did she decline?
Yes.
And who did you go to your sister's house with? Who drove?
I drove and I went with my husband, Matt.
Anybody else?
No.
Do you remember about what time it was that you were speaking to Miss Reed about going to your sister's house?
After midnight.
If I could have Exhibit 22 again, Ms. Gilman, if you could take us to.
Lovey, you are too kind. Okay. I can't believe that you just found me today. This is the wild, wild west. We are very smart, but we also have multiple trains of thought. Okay. And I appreciate my chat and my human beings for being here because I go on tangents. Okay. I find myself in places that no one asked to go. Okay. And if you stay along for the ride, be still my heart. I appreciate every single one of my humans for picking up my FaceTimes when I call.
12:10:36.
Oh, we're back at the bar. Hold, please. Get us out of the bar.
You used Bella's house as a point of designation.
Oh, wait. Now he's in the car. Okay, hold on. Stay right there.
I believe asked something like where to. And since I was driving, I called him.
When you called him, what did you tell him? What did you guys say?
I just said they live 34 Fairview Road off of Chapman.
Do you know if John O'Keefe had ever been to the Albert home before?
I don't believe he had.
In that conversation, how long did that conversation take?
It was quick.
Was there any other conversation that you had with him other than that one conversation?
Yes, he called me back and he was trying to find it.
Trying to find the address?
Try to find the house on Fairview.
Did he ask you for help trying to find the address?
Not sure his exact words, but yes, he needed help. And so I just said, I told him, just go down the street, go by Bella's house. It's at the bottom of the street.
So you used Bella's house as a point of designation to try to guide him to get to your sister's house?
Yes.
Tell us who Bella was to John.
Bella is my daughter and John's niece friend. So Bella is friends with my daughter and John's niece.
Okay. And was there any?
So are you saying that you tried to start some shit? So instead of just giving the street signs, and I don't give a shit if they were lost, but you're telling a man in the car with his lady friend of, why wouldn't you just say the kid's name instead of Bella's mom? Oh. Or was their intention behind that? Start some shit.
Relationship between Bella's mother and John that you knew of?
Oh, may we approach? The eyes and the Poland spring water won't save you.
And at some point you told us you arrived at your sister's home and went in.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to move forward now to when you were inside the house. Tell us generally when you first got there and saw everybody, what were you doing?
I just sat down at the table. I started talking to them. We were listening to music. Typical night.
Okay. Anything stand out as far as music or interaction with the group?
Hi, Lovey. That's my thing. I totally get it if it's not for you, but that's me. And I totally get it if you don't want to watch it. I'm not the channel for you. And that's cool. Okay? Thanks so much.
No, we were just laughing, telling stories. At one point, I'm not sure if it was at some point, my other nephew had been over my house and had shown me this video on his phone, and it was a family inside joke. The video, it was a music video from a long time ago.
Oh.
And so I was telling my other niece and nephew, oh my gosh, you have to see this video. It's hysterical. And then we started playing it and watching it.
What was the video?
It's Raining Men.
Did that get a lot of playtime during that get together?
Well, I have one sister who sometimes has a little too much to drink, takes out an umbrella, and will dance. So it's a family joke.
While you were at,
The inside family joke of It's Raining Men. Can I get a, oh, ladies?
your sister's house, what area of the house were you spending time in?
And I was in the kitchen.
What was the mood of everybody in the house, as far as you remember?
Everybody was in a great mood.
Was there any fighting?
No,
Any arguing?
no,
Any violence?
no.
Was it a celebratory mood?
Yes.
So
As you were in the
celebratory.
house, were you waiting for anybody else that you expected to come?
Yes, I was expecting John and Karen to come.
At some point when you're in the kitchen, or let me ask you a little background. As you're in the kitchen of that house, can you see outside from the kitchen area?
They had blinds or something down, but if the blinds were up, you could see out.
Were the blinds up?
No.
At any point, were you able to see outside from inside the house?
From the front door, yes.
Oh.
Does the front door, is it glass?
Yes.
At some point when you were with everybody in the celebration, did you have a chance to look outside?
Yes.
And when you looked outside, what did you see?
I saw a dark SUV out front.
Did you know whose SUV that was?
I believed it was Karen's.
Could you see who was in it?
No.
At that point of night, what does the weather look like from the front door?
It's dark and it's snowing, and I could see, brake lights.
Did you see if that SUV moved at all?
I didn't see the SUV actually move, but I saw it in a few different locations.
How many times did you
She didn't actually see the SUV move, but she saw it in different locations. What a difference a trial makes. Because good old Jennifer McCabe told us in trial 1 that she saw Karen Reed's vehicle move, and multiple times, babes. First, she was parked directly behind what? The mailbox. And then she was creeping on down to the edge of the property right near the flagpole.
look out?
Can't give you an exact number of how many times I looked out.
Oh, you can't. You can't, Jen, because you were very firm in trial 1.0. So much so that you asked Alan Jackson to show you. Show me. Show me. May I approach the witness? Yes, you may. She was the court answering for Judge Beverly Cannoni, loveys. Oh, Jen.
I can tell you I saw the vehicle first straight out from the front door. Then I saw it up at the flagpole, and then I saw it further up from the flagpole.
Were you studying the car at all?
No, it was quick glances.
Did you have any reason to study it?
No,
What were you expecting was going to happen?
I was expecting John and Karen to come into the house.
Did they ever make it in the house?
No, they did not.
As you were waiting, were you doing anything else in addition to waiting for them to come in?
Yes, so I was sitting at the table. Someone made mention of a car out front, so I got up, went to the door, looked out, and then I would go back to the table, and where we were just all laughing, talking, playing music, just hanging out, not really thinking much about anything.
Did you ever reach out to John when you thought the car out front was the defendant's car with John in it? Did you ever reach out to him?
Yes, I did.
How did you reach out to him?
I texted him.
Do you know if there was a phone call that was made to you before 12:30? A 7-second phone call?
From John?
Yes.
I don't.
You mentioned you had spoken to him about directions. Is that the last time you heard his voice?
Yes.
When the car was out front, did you exchange text messages, or were you simply texting him?
I was texting him.
Mm.
Do you remember what you were texting him?
The first time I said here,
What do you mean by here? Was that
like
exclamation point?
here, question mark, because that's when I saw the car.
You were wondering whether that was him?
Yes.
Did you send any other text messages that you can remember?
After I saw the car move locations, when I saw it go up to the flagpole, I said, pull behind me.
And do you remember any other communications you had with him? Was he texting you anything?
No,
Did he ever text you again that night?
he never texted me again.
Never called again?
No.
No.
Did you continue to text him over the next 15, 20 minutes?
Did, yes.
And so at some point, did you realize that John O'Keefe and the defendant weren't coming in the house?
Yes, when the car was gone.
Did you ever go outside through the storm down to the flagpole to speak to them?
No.
Why not?
Why would I?
Oh, 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 loveys, clutch your pearls and clench your buttholes. Because look at the face right now of the one and only Jennifer McCabe. When asked by Hank Brennan, potentially a question that was not on her timeline, direct questionnaire. When he says, you didn't go out to the flagpole where you saw a car of your friends that were supposed to come into the house? Why didn't you? And if looks could kill, Jen, calm down. Why would I? Oh, I don't know. I think I would have if I got up 4 to 5 to 6 times and sent 6 different text messages and allegedly saw my friend and their girlfriend's car right outside. Why wouldn't I? Hey, you guys good? Coming in? No? Oh, you didn't like that one, did you, Jen?
I was just asking.
I had no reason to.
So when you were in the house, at
Fake
some point,
laugh.
did you notice that the car was gone?
Yes.
Were you marking the time or keeping track of it?
No.
After you didn't see the defendant's car anymore, did you stay?
Yes.
How long do you think you stayed for at the house?
I stayed till about around 1:30, 1:45-ish.
Did anybody else come in the house up until 1:45?
No.
Did people leave at certain times?
Yes, people did leave.
Who was the first to leave?
Brian Higgins?
Do you remember about what time he left?
I don't.
And after Mr. Higgins left, do you know who left?
I'm not sure. I believe it was us, and then my niece Caitlin was also like at the door. It was kind of in a row. Brian left, and then a little bit later, I think it was, myself, Matt, Julie, and Sarah left, but Caitlin was at the door.
Just everybody leaving like the little ducks in a row that we are. Don't be worried. Don't make it weird.
I believe she was waiting for her ride.
How much longer after Mr. Higgins left did you leave?
Maybe I honestly can't say. I think he was there for a while I was there. So maybe he left anywhere from 15 minutes, approximately 15, 20 minutes before I did, or maybe a little more.
Nick, Daddy
You mentioned that
Higgins.
you had left the waterfall after midnight,
Yes.
and you had phone calls with Mr. O'Keefe along the way.
Yes.
Do you know that there are phone records with your text messages and phone calls in them?
Yes.
And do you know whether your phone records reflect the time of your calls with Mr. O'Keefe
Yes.
and your text messages?
Yes.
Oh, my sweetest loveroni with cheese. Are you doling out 10 Nurse Kim non-consensual memberships to people that are unsuspecting and definitely not interested? I can't. I'm obsessed. Thank you so much, my loveromi. Text me later.
When you were texting and Mr. O'Keefe, when the Lexus or the car was in front of the house, rather, was Mr. Higgins still there?
Yes.
What are some of the things that everybody did along that night before you left? What happened in there?
What happened inside the house?
What happened in there?
Nothing. We basically just sat around the table, talked, laughed, listened to music, chit-chatted.
Celebratory?
Yes.
Was there
Again.
ever any fighting,
No, none at all.
any arguing,
None at all.
any physical interaction?
No, none.
When you decided to leave that night, did you say around 1:45-ish?
Yes.
When you left around 1:45, was there any events that happened that night that would...
I want to prepare you all for the next 5 minutes. We are about to teleport, loveys. Okay. This is where Jen starts going, I believe, off script. But I also have to remind myself that Hank Brennan still hasn't done his summer reading. Okay. He still has no idea what is happening and what these witnesses have testified to in trial 1.0, because this was shocking.
Cause you unrest or excitement or your heartbeat to raise?
No.
When you decided to leave, you and your husband, where were you going to go?
We were dropping off Julie Nagel and Sarah Levinson, and then we were going home.
Oh.
Had you planned on dropping them off earlier in the night?
No, when we got there, Julie's brother had pulled up to pick them up, and
I won't ask you what was said because you weren't there.
Oh,
but
okay.
At some point, did you come to an understanding that you would give them a ride home?
Yes.
Did you offer?
Yes.
Who was going to drive home between you and your husband?
Matt drove home.
When you left, I want you to describe as you step out into the driveway or the walkway. Was it the front door or side door, if you remember?
I walked out the front door.
Is the weather like it was when you first got there?
No, it's picked up.
Tell us what you mean by it's picked up.
So as I walk out, you kind of go, the walkway is to the left. So I walk down the steps, I go to the left. The snow was coming, it was cold, the wind was picking up. So I kind of just like curled up and ran to my car quick to get in.
What part of the car did you get into?
Front passenger.
Who was driving?
Matt.
And where were the other two people?
Sarah and Julie were in the back seat.
Who was in what spot?
I'm not exactly sure.
So both of the young women were in the back seat?
Yes.
Was there any conversation when you got into the car?
We got in the car and they were teasing me
Why were they teasing you?
because I had like bread and maybe peanut butter in my car.
Why did you have bread and peanut butter in your car?
I had my niece for the week, and I was dragging her like to all my kids' sporting events. So we'd go from like one game to another game to a practice. So sometimes instead of always giving her McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, I'd try to throw her a peanut butter sandwich.
And they were making fun of you?
Yeah.
As the car backs out of the driveway, tell us what you're doing.
I'm talking to the girls.
You just moved your head.
Yes.
Does that mean anything?
Yes.
How?
They were both sitting behind me. So I was like turning and, chatting and talking.
After your husband pulls out of the driveway, do you start to drive home?
Yes.
If the house is on my right and you're driving, are you in the passenger seat closest to the house or furthest away?
Passenger seat closest.
So you're driving, if you look at a picture of the house, you would be driving from right to left?
Yes.
So as you start to drive, or your husband starts to drive the car, what direction are you looking in, if you remember?
The back seat.
Did you drive by the
Rachel, 100% Lovey. The Duncan, it's like a dig at Karen. I noticed it too. And she says, oh, I don't always want to get her fast food. And I had my niece, so I wanted to give her a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Oh, mother of the year. Now we're food shaming people. Well, I just want to remind you, Jen, in the beginning of this testimony, you said that you had the hockey banquet, the dinner, right, at your house. Did you make, like, I don't know, maybe some pasta? Did you have some spaghetti and garlic bread and meatballs like we always used to do? No. You got pizza. But, you didn't want to ever have to give that your little niece just feeding her fast food all the time. Oh, Jen.
the front of the house, do you know?
We pulled out of the driveway and went up Chapman.
Okay. And your husband and you passed by the front of the house?
Yes.
Did you pass by the flagpole?
Yes.
Were you looking at the flagpole?
No.
And how dark was it at that point?
It was dark.
Snow?
Yes.
As you're passing the flagpole, do you hear or see anything remarkable?
No, I'm not really paying attention. I'm just chatting to the girls, and Matt's just focusing on driving.
When you're talking to the girls and they're making fun of you, what's the mood in the car?
We're all laughing and joking.
Where do you go next?
We drive Julie Nagel home.
After you drop off Miss Nagle, where do you go?
We drop off Sarah Levinson.
Is the weather constant?
Yes.
After you drop off the young woman in separate spots, where do you go?
We went home.
Can you tell us when you get home what happens next?
We go in the house. I go up to bed. Matt makes himself a snack and then joins me upstairs.
Do you have a telephone?
Yes.
An iPhone?
Do
Yes.
you have a telephone?
When you go to bed, do you stay
Do you know the Muffin Man, Hank?
up at all?
Yes.
Do you use your iPhone?
Yes, I do.
What were you doing?
I texted a few people, and then I did a couple of Google searches.
And what were the searches for?
One, my daughter had played in a basketball game earlier in the night, and it was a very good game. So I went and I read the report on it. And then my other daughter had an offer to play on a basketball team. So we had to make a decision about whether or not we were going to accept the spot. So I was just looking up that basketball club.
Other than those regular searches that one would do, is there anything remarkable about what you were searching at 2:27 that time frame?
No.
After you were looking at websites for your child sports, what did you do?
I put my phone down and went to sleep.
And up to that point, had there been any discord or fighting or arguments in your world?
No.
Peaceful night?
Yes.
Did you go to
Peaceful.
sleep, Ms. McCabe?
Yes.
Sleep through the night?
I typically get up to go to the bathroom, so I could have gotten up possibly to go to the bathroom.
Did anything remarkable happen in the early morning hours of January 29, 2022 that changed that peaceful mood into something else?
Yes.
I want you to share with the jury the first thing that happens that changes everything.
At 4:53, my phone rings and I look at my caller ID. I look at the phone and it's Kaylee.
Wait a minute. Did I miss it? Oh, man. How did I miss this? Oh, loveys, I have to back us up. How did I miss the part that I wanted to show you? Oh, okay. Okay, 6:30. Okay, I'm going to get us there, but I just have to find this one thing. I don't know how I missed this. Did you know?
Two now are playing in college. My husband and I
I
both
have to get us
coached
to the
them.
point where she talks about that.
Guardianship of the children. Did you assist in an active role in helping him?
Yes.
I don't know when I missed it.
My daughters and my husband met, and we met some of the parents from the high school basketball team.
No, that's not it.
Join you or join the group at some point?
Yes, a little while later, Brian Albert,
Well, wait a minute. It must be here.
me, about, as the girls got older, the girl drama or
No. Oh my gosh, this is such a big part.
Life?
yes, back then I had, two in high school that played 3 sports
No,
and they played
I don't
club
know where
sports
it
as well.
Oh my gosh, this is so annoying.
There that you knew.
Yes.
Okay, now take us inside the waterfall. When you get there, who do you see?
I walk in and I see,
Oh gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to show it at the end. I have it on. I put it on my Twitter.
You first spoke to her. I mean, John's niece's demeanor.
I would say Kaylee sound concerned, uneasy.
During that phone call, other than the screaming and the screaming of your name, did the defendant give you any information other than she had dropped John off at the waterfall?
Nexus Lexus. I'm looking for when Jen is describing not knowing Julie Nagel, like that. Yeah. We weren't friends, and that she didn't know Sarah Levinson and didn't know like Julie Nagel. Yes, she had watched the dog, but she only knew her because of her nephew. And I brought up testimony. I have clips that is bananas from Julie Nagel describing Auntie JJ and how close their relationship was, including her asking Julie Nagel to send her the screenshot of the text messages between Julie Nagel and her brother from 12 something on January 29th, 2022. And I want to know why Jen is distancing herself from Julie. Oh, woohoo, I have questions.
They'd gotten into a fight. She had left him there and he didn't come home.
When you were woken up, were you in a sleep when you were woken up?
Yes, I was sound asleep.
What was your mental state like when you first woke up and got that call?
Well, I had been up late. I had taken my medication that I take for my MS. So I was definitely a bit groggy when I first woke up. So immediately I just wanted to help her. She was hysterical. Kaylee was upset. So I went into that kind of mom mode of what can I do? How can I help? So I immediately was like, thinking, okay, well, if you left him at the waterfall, let me think who was still there, or, how can I help you? How can we find John?
Did you have a plan when you ended that first call?
I did. I knew
Yes.
Chris Albert had still been at the waterfall when I left. So I thought if Karen and John had gotten into a fight, maybe Chris had walked out of the bar, and Chris lived local to the bar. Thought maybe they walked back to Chris's together.
So what did you do?
So I called Chris Albert's wife, Julie.
Did you speak to her?
Now, does this make sense? Loveys, she's going to contradict herself all over the place because it never made sense in trial 1.0. But I want you to listen to her, because she has told us since the beginning that she saw Karen Reed's Lexus at 34 Fairview. So it has never made sense that this witness, that this gentle, loving soccer mother wouldn't have just said to Karen Reed, "What the fuck are you talking about?" at 4:53 a.m. and said, I saw you at my sister's. You didn't just leave John at the waterfall."
No, she never answered.
After you had a moment to make a phone call and think about things, did your head become any more clear?
It did. And I was, reminded by my husband that we had seen Karen in John's car outside of Fairview.
When he reminded you, did you independently remember the text messages that you sent to John earlier that evening?
Immediately, I was like, oh my God, you're right.
Did you remember
Were you? I was like, oh my God, you're right.
that you had seen what you believed to be the defendant's car in front of the house and near the flagpole?
Watch the form.
Okay.
Oh.
What did you remember? What came to mind after you spoke to your husband about your memory from earlier that evening?
The minute he said it, I remember seeing the SUV, and then all the text messages that I had, and the phone conversation with John.
So after the defendant spoke to you and said she had left the defendant at the waterfall and you had time to think about your memories, did you react or do anything with that?
Yes, I believe I called Kaylee back.
Why did you call Kaylee?
I didn't have Miss Reed's phone number.
When you called Kaylee back, did you speak to anybody?
Yes, I believe Kaylee and then Miss Reed.
When you first spoke to Kaylee, could you hear anything other than Kaylee?
The screaming.
Was
The
it any different,
screaming.
or was it similar to the first time you spoke by phone?
Similar
we're
to the
gonna hear
first
it
time.
again.
Regarding the demeanor or intensity, had it changed at all?
Not at all.
You mentioned the first time that you had that phone call, the defendant was screaming your name. Jen,
Yes.
Jen, Jen. Was she saying your name in the second call, or was it just general screaming?
My name. And then when she got on the phone, I had told her.
Dr. Mango perhaps asks if is it curious. I'm curious, is it common for people to get so drunk that they just sleep on a sofa? Anyone's sofa? Maybe when you are like 21, right? Like 21 to 23, and you're saying to yourself, "Ooh, I don't want to get an Uber home." But no, not 45-year-old Boston police officers and or any professional that has children. One would not be sleeping on anyone's sofa, if you will.
Karen, I saw you guys outside of my
Sorry.
sister's house. And then she told me she didn't remember being there. And then she went on to say, she started saying,
Oh no.
and could I have hit him? Did I hit him? I don't. And then she just was just all over the place, like screaming my name, screaming so many different things. She was hard to follow or understand.
Oh. As
When she was
she typically is. Oh no. Lord help us. Sorry, Levy.
Yes, I wouldn't say we met. It was more of a, the plow was coming, so then she
Sorry, right there.
showed up at my house.
how did you know Karen showed up at your house?
I could hear her screaming out front.
And about what time is this?
Approximately 5:20, 5:30. I can't be
Were
sure.
you worried for John at this point?
Not particularly. No.
Were you screaming?
Lies.
No.
Sorry. Wrong answer. Wrong answer, Jen. Because if you have now changed your story that you were not particularly worried about John, I mean, who cares? Facts matter journalism. What do I give a shit? I figured he was just out having a great time. I'm calling Julie and Chris. I call Mr. Beatty. I'm just calling everybody, wondering, pray tell, is John O'Keefe on your couch? You're not worried at all, right, Jen? Well, then why in the Christ are you leaving your home when you're a mother of 4 children to go search for John? Riddle me that. Because I'll tell you right now, Mr. Nurse Kim would not be saying, if I didn't think something was a emergency, that I was needed and must leave my home. There is no possible way that I'm tucking and rolling out of my house when you can't see at 5:30 in the morning and a blizzard is literally ramping up. No, Scott. It didn't happen that way, and you know it.
Now, at this point, this moment when you hear her outside of your house yelling, early morning hours, did you know a person by the name of Kerry Roberts?
I knew of her. I'd met her once.
Were you friends with her at that time?
No,
Had you socialized with her at that time?
no,
Had you ever seen her before with John?
once.
Tell me about that.
Years earlier, as I said earlier, I used to take Kaylee on Friday nights, and Kerry was the one who would take Patrick on Friday nights. So we would each have the kids. And to thank us, one day John told us how he got a discount at Reebok and to get our kids' shoe sizes, and he was going to buy us all sneakers, just as a way to say thank you for helping. So we all went to the store together, and then John took Kerry and myself to the hillside for lunch.
How many years before this moment was that?
Oh gosh. Well, I think that's when my daughter was in kindergarten or first grade, and at this point she was in 8th grade. So like 7 years.
Had you ever spent any other time with Kerry Roberts before this morning?
No,
Were you friends at that point?
no.
How would you consider your relationship with Miss Roberts on that morning when Miss Reed arrived to your?
Ooh, and this is where we get in the weeds, babe. Oh, Jen, were you getting a little tired? Did you need a snack? Should Matt have packed you a cheese stick? Because we have some inconsistent statements coming up. In 3, 2, 1. We know that you and Kerry had only met when John had his 50% off and got you and your kids and her kids kicks at the Reebok store. And then you guys went to the Hilly for lunch, and you didn't know Kerry at all, but you followed Kerry's directions immediately upon Karen and you driving back. She was the one who told you needed to go to Meadows, and you just listened because you don't wear the pants in every other situation in life. Bullshit. Also, Shell Urba, Mr. Nurse Kim, it was very progressive of him to take my last name. I love you. You fit here.
Your home?
I had met her once, and that was the extent of it. I wouldn't say I knew her at all beyond that one time I went out with her.
I want you to take us back now to when you first hear the defendant in your driveway yelling. When you hear that, do you hear any words, or is it general yelling?
So I hear her yelling. So I was downstairs making coffee. I go to my front door and I open it, and she's screaming, Jen, Jen. She's screaming that 3 times. And then she was saying,
she caught herself. OMG. You know, in this moment, Jennifer McCabe said, I did it. Oops, I did it again. Jen. And then she says, don't let me do that a 3rd time. This is going to be on YouTube. Well, Jen, I apologize. It's on the YouTube, babe.
we have to go to Fairview. A lot of the could I have hit him? Did I hit him? Just she was on repeat.
What did you do?
My husband came running down the hall and was like, tell her to shut up. She's going to wake up the neighbors. And then I said, I'm just going to go with her. I'm going to go look for John. And then he yelled down saying something like, you can't be driving around in this weather, with a broken taillight.
When you saw the defendant at your front door, had the weather changed?
Now, Matt McCabe, Mr. Veneers, as I call him. Okay. That man's got bigger chiclets than I've ever seen. He tells her that you can't be driving around with Karen Reed and her broken taillight. Stop it. Stop it. What? Now it's Matt. And you're listening to Matt since when?
Changed overnight?
Yes.
Was it different?
Yes. Now the snow had intensified. It was almost like it was dark outside, but it was like whiteout conditions.
How dark?
Dark. I mean, it was dark. It was like 5:30 in the morning.
What was the visibility like?
Not good.
After you meet the defendant at your door, do you let her in or does she stay outside?
I'm not sure if I just grabbed my coffee and ran out
Where did you
or
go?
whether she came in. So we went down my walkway. She was just kind of running all around. The driver's door was open. So I told her I was going to drive because I thought she was too hysterical to drive. In the meantime, all of a sudden there was a car at the end of my street and there was a plow behind it.
The car that came to the end of your street, do you know where it went?
I meant the end of my driveway. I'm sorry.
When you say at the end of your driveway, did it pull
Oh,
into your
I
driveway?
missed that.
No, it just kind of stopped right at the base of my driveway.
Okay. How far behind your car was that car?
Not far, because not too far.
Okay. Did you know who was in that car?
No.
Did you learn who was in that car?
Yes,
How did you learn who was in the car?
because I said, "Who is that?"
Did you ask the defendant or did you walk
I
up?
asked the defendant, and she told me it was Carrie Roberts.
Did you meet Carrie Roberts face to face in your driveway that morning?
Yes, I wouldn't say we met. It was more of a the plow was coming, so then she was having to like move down the street.
Okay, we get in the weeds there. Hold on, guys. I just want to end this. And then I have to find that one spot and we're going to be done because it's going to be day 2 will be
Carrie
magic.
removing the snow from John's face.
Is that the first moment you realized that that was John O'Keefe on the ground?
Yes, it was.
When you see Carrie removing the snow from John's face, what do you do?
I
do you
was
do?
frozen. I was shocked. I couldn't believe that was him just lying there.
Tell us what you're seeing.
What do I see? I see Carrie just wiping the snow off. Karen had straddled him and had lifted her shirt and his shirt and was laying on him. And Carrie was screaming at her to get off of him. And I was literally just stunned. I mean, there he was.
What did
Oh. Oh, Jen. Okay. So we're going to perpetuate that Karen straddled Officer John O'Keefe like a weirdo instead of the fact that she was trying to transfer body heat. Okay. And there he was. Continue.
John look like when you saw him?
I couldn't see much but his face because the rest was snow and Karen was moving over him, but he just looked like just
Karen.
him, but just like frozen.
This is it. This is it. Clutch your pearls. It was him, but just frozen. Okay. And the Academy Award goes to Jen. Stop it. It doesn't go to you. Okay. It goes to, I don't know. I'm going to say Mr. Trotta as the body double for the old man in Up because he is the cutest man that ever lived. You, on the other hand, are trying too hard here. He looked frozen. But Jen, quick question. They wouldn't have initiated CPR and a code in the field and drill an intraosseous into Officer John O'Keefe's tibia if he was as frozen as you are going to say right now. Also, additionally, Carrie Roberts provided the first multiple rounds of chest compressions. And yet you tell us, Jen, that it was still hard and felt weird on his chest. Carrie would have got that, absolutely. In a hypothermic situation, Carrie would have felt that. But after multiple rounds, you didn't. Are you reading from her timeline? Or what? Did we get this confused? Because what you say next about your call to 911 has never been said before. And it appears that you may be watching content. Are you watching content?
What did you do?
At first, I just stood there for a minute because I couldn't believe it was him. And then Kerry Roberts and I made eye contact, and I knew. I was like, all right, I'm going to call 911. But I think I knew in that moment that John, was dead.
Did you call 911?
Yeah, I started to call 911, and Kerry and Karen were just screaming. And so I walked back towards Kerry's car. And then Kerry was also yelling at me to go to the back of the car to look for blankets and towels. So as I was calling 911, I was at the back of the car looking for the towels and the blankets to bring over to Kerry. And while I was doing that, I believe 911 answered.
Did you speak to 911?
I did, yes.
Did you get the towels and blankets that Kerry had requested?
I did, yes.
After your phone calls 911 and you had the towels and blankets, tell us what happens next.
So after I called 911, I went back over to Kerry, Karen, and John. And at that point, Kerry.
This is tragic. God rest Officer John O'Keefe and his soul. And I just will never not think that this is the weirdest testimony and the weirdest shit we have ever heard, loveys, right? Does it not just make you go, huh? Wait, what? And miraculously, now you can see that the plot, right? It has thickened. We're trying to make an au jus sauce here. Previously it was thin, and you're thickening it up, and you're throwing it on pretty thick and saying that you knew before you had called 911 that he was unalive. And that's interesting because in your 911 call, you say, I think he's dead. But you also say, Jen, that he got out of the car. So, did you see him get out of the car as well? Or is this a combination of timelines?
Kerry asked if I would take over compressions. So she got up and I started doing compressions, and Karen was doing mouth to mouth.
When you started doing compressions, were you touching John over his clothes or touching his skin?
I don't remember.
Did you at that point get a chance to touch John's body and see how it felt temperature-wise?
I just remember when I was doing the compressions, I don't really know how to explain it. It just felt very funny.
I'm sorry, very
It just wasn't like normal.
What?
I don't.
When was the last time you've done chest compressions, Jen? I'd like to ask that question. When was the last time you've done chest compressions? Because how would one know that it didn't feel right?
I can't think of how to describe the way it felt when I was trying to press down, but it was like resistance.
Probably because it didn't happen.
How long did you try to give compressions and give aid to John for?
Until the police came.
Mr. Brennan, why don't we end here?
Thank you.
All right. We're going to end there, loveys, but I have to turn back the hands of time, and I have to find the one spot about Sarah Levinson and Julie Nagle.
After the game, I drove my daughter home.
Because this is big.
Niece?
Yes, Caitlin.
Is that Brian and Nicole's daughter?
Yes.
You mentioned the name Tristan. What's his relationship?
Tristan. I think it was
Julie,
right in
I'm
the
not sure if I
beginning.
said that one.
Oh, come on, Kim. I'm so sorry, loveys.
2 now are playing in college. My husband.
No, we don't care about the college.
The children?
No.
No.
After the game, I drove.
Okay, she drove there.
Just join them and sit down.
Were you eating, drinking?
Hold on.
Yes, earlier, yes.
Did you make plans with him, or did he just show up?
Oh, did you make plans?
Multiple sclerosis. So he,
Nope, that's not it.
You said you were going to see Brian Albert Jr. for
Yes.
his
Oh,
birthday.
here
Was
it is.
Brian Albert
Gotta be
Jr.
here.
at the waterfall when you got there?
no, he was not.
Was Brian Albert Jr. there anytime when you were at the waterfall?
No, he was not.
Without relating a conversation with some other person, did you have an understanding where Brian Albert Jr. was?
He was at home.
This
Did
is
you
it.
historically or typically see Brian Albert Jr., your nephew, on his birthday?
Yeah, typically we always, get together. We try to and do a cake.
Oh no, that's still not it. Oh, come on, Kim.
Yes, back then I had, 2 in high school.
No,
After the game, I drove
no, I don't know where it is.
multiple sclerosis.
No, we know that.
Yeah.
Oh, it must be at the bar. Was it before the bar? Maybe that's
Speaking
when I
of-
missed it.
Of the defendant, do you recognize her here in the courtroom?
All right, never mind.
Yes, I do.
Could you
Okay.
kindly
I'm going to bring you to, oh, can I do this? Okay, I'm going to share this tab profile because I made a post about this, Loveys. You're going to be like, I'm sorry, what? Now I'm going to go here. I'm going to unshare. Oh, wait a minute. Am I? I'm going to share this tab instead. Then I am going to remove this one. And I'm going to split the screen one more time. Wait a sec. Okay. Yep. We're going to wait. Oh no. Okay. We're going to split this. I'm so sorry. Bear with me, my loves. Okay. Here we go. Boom. Got it. Now, here it is. We are going to see there was the how believable is Jen McCabe's testimony, but here is the banger is day 6th Commonwealth v. Karen Reed. We are going to see that it said Jennifer McCabe, I wrote, distanced herself from the relationship with Julie Nagel, but we know that, quote, Auntie JJ let her watch her beloved family golden doodle, Bailey, and Julie was even trusted to drive the McCabe daughters around. But most importantly, JJ asked Julie Nagel to send her the screenshot of text messages between herself and brother Brian Nagel from after midnight on January 29th, 2022 for the timeline. Let's watch it.
Julie Nagel, did you know her when you walked in the house that night?
I had met her a few times.
Had you spent time with her? Were you friends with her?
No, I just had met her a few times, and she'd watched my dog for me when my nephew couldn't.
When you would go away, would your nephew be responsible to watch your dog?
Yes,
Did you understand that Julie Nagel had watched your dog a couple of times?
yes.
Had you ever socialized with her before that night?
No, I may have seen her at a graduation party, but never beyond that.
Were you friends with her at that point?
No. Yes, through my nephew. He just said my friend's going to do it, and I trusted his judgment.
And there was another woman by the name of Sarah. Did you?
Oh, okay. So that feels very new car. Who dis, right? Like, I don't know you. Who are you? Now let's hear what Julie Nagel has to say. Oh.
The McCabes were related to the Alberts, correct?
Yes.
And you knew Jennifer and Matt McCabe before that night, right?
I'm sorry, can you?
Yes. Before January 28th of 2022, you knew Jennifer and Matt McCabe.
Yes.
You had been to their home before,
Who's home?
the McCabe's home.
I don't recall.
You'd driven their daughters around, correct?
I have, yes.
And you had actually pet sat for the McCabe's golden doodle, correct?
Correct, yes.
Their home.
Yes.
And so the answer to my previous question is certainly you've been to their home, correct?
Yes.
And their golden doodle was named Bailey, correct?
Yes.
In fact, you knew Jennifer McCabe well enough that you called her by a nickname, correct?
Yes.
What was the nickname that you referred to Jennifer McCabe by?
JJ?
And you knew that JJ was Nicole Albert's sister, correct?
Yes.
Now, on the night of January 28th into the 29th, you saw Brian Albert Sr. After he came back to 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes.
You were on the first floor of that residence the whole night, were you not?
Yes.
And you have a specific memory of Brian Albert Sr. walking Chloe through the first floor of that house.
All right, Loveys. And this is the
Messages
the
that you
clip.
had with your brother Ryan, and whether any investigator or assistant district attorney had asked you for somebody. By JJ, you mean Jennifer McCabe?
Correct. Yes.
When JJ asked you, do you remember when it was that JJ, Jennifer McCabe, asked you for a copy of those screenshots?
I do not remember. No.
Did you provide them to Jennifer McCabe?
I did. Yes.
Did Jennifer McCabe, when she asked you to provide her with those screenshots, claim that she was an investigator in this case?
Objection.
You can answer that.
Do you mind repeating that, please?
Sure. When Jennifer McCabe, or as you called her, JJ, asked you for screenshots of the text messages that you had with your brother Ryan, did Jennifer McCabe tell you that she was investigating this case?
Oh.
And you have no memory of providing those screenshots to any investigator other than Jennifer McCabe, correct?
I don't remember. No.
Text messages that you had with your brother Ryan, and
Now-
whether any investigator
just
or
go
assistant
back.
attorney had asked you.
Oh, just kidding, Loveys. I have to play the one.
The-
Oh, what is happening? Let me play this one thing again for us. It's Jen saying that,
Julie
like,
Nagel, did you
I don't
know
know
her
these
when you walked in the
people.
house that night?
I had met her a few times.
Wait, why can't this go big? Okay. Because you want to hear her. Why is she Jen distancing herself? It doesn't make sense. Oh, why won't this go big? I'll just play it small. Just listen to her. Sorry.
Did you know her when you walked in the house that night?
I had met her a few times.
Had you spent time with her? Were you friends with her?
There it is.
Julie Nagel, did
Oh.
you know her when you walked in the house that night?
I had met her a few times.
Had you spent time with her? Were you friends with her?
No, I just had met her a few times, and she'd watched my dog for me when my nephew couldn't.
When you would go away, would your nephew be responsible to watch your dog?
Yes.
Did you understand that Julie Nagel had watched your dog a couple of times?
Yes.
Had you ever socialized with her before that night?
And I may have seen her at a graduation party, but never beyond that.
Oh,
Were you friends with her at that point?
No. Yes, through my nephew. He just said my friend's going to do it, and I trusted his judgment.
And there was another woman by the name of Sarah. Julie Nagel, did you know her when you walked in the house that night?
I had met her a few times.
that's it. All right. Now, put me up. Get this out of here. And I am going to make this big. Okay. What does that tell you? What does that tell us? There is something there, Loveys. I don't know what it is, but it's something. And you don't just let anybody call you JJ, like your auntie name for the kids. Like all of my nieces or nephews, like they might call me Auntie Kim, but I'm not just letting someone I just met do it, right? Like I'm not letting an acquaintance of the kids be like, oh, that's Auntie Kim. That's reserved. And that's specific. And I think that there is something there, if you ask me. Oh. Something's brewing. Do we know what? No. But you distancing yourself from the Nagel makes me question things. That's all I can say. I know that there is something there because Jen got that screenshot. She had the phone number of Julie Nagel and she got it. She had it. She allowed her to watch their family pet and drive her kids around. So she was very friendly with her. And when you see Jennifer McCabe wearing Justice for JJ buttons, oh, one could feel a little bit of an ick because that's your nickname too. I know that Officer John O'Keefe's nickname is JJ. But is it justice for you too? Because people have had negative thoughts of you? I don't know. Things that make you go, yeah, you get the ick. Absolutely, Maddie Wags. All right, my lovies, I appreciate you. Parksy, it's not a real Nurse Kim stream until she mutes herself. Ain't that the truth? We have muted. We have not tooted. And some say Jennifer McCabe did a number 2 at the Waterfall Bar and Grill. Not me, but some have said. All right, lovies. Listen, it's late. It's 9:37. You've got places to go. I appreciate everything about you. Thank you for coming to my house today and for answering my FaceTime. And you mean the world to me. You are the best that have ever done it. And tomorrow night, if we play our cards right, we may have attorney Mark Betterow coming to bless us with his presence and a week, the wrap up of, what is it going to be? The 30th, Wednesday, the 30th's testimony of Jennifer McCabe. I can't handle it. It's too exciting. And I know that tomorrow is going to be a wild ride. I'm going to check my Venmos in case anyone did donate to the defense, like for me to send money to Karen for the defense fund. For the defense lunch, because they will need their power. They will need their protein. And if it's Mr. Yannetti's way, he will say, I need a bowl of spaghetti. Boop. That's it. All right, lovies. I love you so much. Have a wonderful night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.